Oh, honey, if you thought things between Jim Jones and Chrissy Lampkin were just another messy reality TV storyline, buckle up, because what just went down has the internet in absolute chaos. We're talking about a night that started with smiles, flashing lights, and VIP energy, but ended in shouting, grabbing, and a moment that people can't stop replaying. And now, that footage? It's everywhere. Social media is on fire, fans are divided, and the questions just keep getting louder. What really happened behind those velvet ropes? Was this just another argument that brought out a hand? Or did Jim finally cross a line he can't come back from? And baby, the most shocking part? This wasn't just a private fight that stayed behind closed doors. No, this played out in front of a crowd, cameras rolling, people watching, and now the whole world has an opinion. So sit back, because this story isn't just drama, it's betrayal, tension, years of built-up pain, and one moment that might have changed everything forever. Now, let's rewind for a second, because to understand how things exploded like this, you have to look at the history. And trust me, this relationship, it's never been simple. From the very beginning, Jim and Chrissy were that couple everybody talked about. Passionate, intense, sometimes beautiful, and sometimes straight up toxic. They've been through cheating rumors, public arguments, breakups, makeups, you name it. And still, somehow, they always found their way back to each other. Chrissy stood by Jim through things that would have had most people walking away for good. When people questioned his loyalty, she defended him. When the blogs dragged his name, she stayed quiet. She held him down in ways that had fans saying she's too real for him. But here's the twist. Loyalty only goes so far when respect starts slipping. Over the years, people started noticing cracks, subtle at first. A tense interview here, a shady post there. Then it got louder. Rumors about other women started popping up again. Late nights, suspicious behavior, whispers from insiders who claimed Jim wasn't as committed as he claimed to be. And every time, Chrissy would either shut it down or stay silent. But silence doesn't mean everything is okay. Sometimes it just means someone is tired. And that's where things start to shift. Because behind the scenes, sources say things had already been rocky for months before that night. Conversations turning into arguments, trust getting thinner, and that feeling that something just isn't right anymore. You know the kind. When you're in a room with someone you love, but it feels like you're miles apart. That's where they were. Smiling in public, struggling in private. And then came that night. It was supposed to be just another event. Music loud, drinks flowing, cameras flashing. Jim and Chrissy walked in together, looking like everything was fine, holding hands, greeting people, playing their roles perfectly. But baby, sometimes the biggest storms start behind the calmest smiles. At first, nothing seemed off. They were in the VIP section, surrounded by familiar faces. But then something changed. Witnesses say Jim's mood shifted suddenly. He went from relaxed to restless, pacing, checking his phone, looking irritated. Chrissy noticed. Of course she did. She leaned in, tried to talk to him, asked what was wrong. But instead of answering, he pulled away. And that's when the tension started building. Now, here's where it gets messy. According to multiple eyewitnesses, Jim received a message on his phone, and whatever he saw, it set him off. Not just a little irritation, we're talking full mood switch. Chrissy tried to see what was going on, and that's when voices started rising. At first, it was low, like a heated conversation, but then it got louder. People nearby started turning their heads. You know that moment when the music is still playing, but something else grabs your attention? Yeah, it was that kind of moment. Chrissy was trying to keep things calm, telling him not here, trying to de-escalate. But Jim, he wasn't hearing it. His voice got sharper, his movements more aggressive. And then it happened. He stood up, and when he stood up, everything changed. Witnesses say Jim got in Chrissy's space, pointing, raising his voice, clearly upset. Chrissy stood her ground, but you could see the shift in her energy. She wasn't just annoyed anymore, she was uncomfortable. And then, the moment that has everybody talking, Jim reached for her. Now let's be clear, this is the part that turned a messy argument into something much bigger. According to people who were right there, he grabbed her arm, trying to pull her up from her seat. Not gently, not playfully. It was forceful enough that people around them immediately reacted. Chrissy pulled back, telling him to let go, her voice louder now, stronger. And that's when the entire section froze, because now it wasn't just an argument, it was a scene. A man nearby stepped in, someone who clearly knew them. He moved quickly, placing himself between Jim and Chrissy, telling Jim to chill out. But Jim wasn't backing down. Words were exchanged, tension rising even higher, and within seconds, security rushed in. And just like that, it was over. Jim was escorted out, still visibly upset. Chrissy stayed behind, shaken, sitting there trying to process what just happened. People gathering around her, asking if she was okay. And somewhere in that crowd, someone had been recording the whole thing. And you already know what happened next. The footage hit the internet, and everything exploded. Clips started circulating within hours. Social media went into overdrive. People analyzing every second, every movement, every expression. Hashtags started trending, opinions flying left and right. Some people defending Jim, saying it was just a heated moment. Others not holding back at all. This is unacceptable. He crossed the line. Chrissy deserves better. And then came the deeper conversations. People started bringing up the past, the rumors, the patterns, saying this wasn't just one moment, but part of something bigger. And Jim, he didn't help his case. Instead of immediately addressing the situation clearly, he posted a vague message online, something cryptic, something that left people even more confused. And you know how the internet is. Silence or mystery only makes things worse. Meanwhile, Chrissy, quiet. No statements, no posts, nothing. And sometimes that kind of silence speaks louder than anything else, because it makes people wonder what's really going on behind the scenes. Now here's where things get even more emotional. Sources close to Chrissy say this wasn't just about that night, that moment. It was the breaking point, the final straw after years of holding things together. Because imagine being in that situation, the person you've stood by through everything, putting you in a position like that in public. That kind of humiliation, it hits different, and it doesn't just go away the next day. People close to her say she's been pulling back, taking space, reevaluating everything. Because at some point, you have to ask yourself, how much is too much? And let's talk about the emotional toll for a second. Because behind all the headlines and viral clips, there's a real person dealing with this. Someone who invested years into a relationship, who believed in it, fought for it, defended it, and now has to face this moment playing out in front of millions. That's not just embarrassing, it's heartbreaking. It affects everything: your confidence, your trust, your ability to even look at that person the same way again. And for someone like Chrissy, who's always tried to keep things together, this hits even deeper. And for Jim, the consequences are just beginning, because it's not just about what happened, it's about how people see him now. Reputation matters, especially in the public eye, and moments like this, they stick. Brands notice, fans remember, and once that image cracks, it's hard to fix. And then there's the relationship itself, because here's the question everybody's asking: is this the end? After everything they've been through, is this the moment that finally breaks them for good? Some insiders say yes, that this time feels different, that Chrissy isn't just upset, she's done. Others think they might try to work it out again, like they always have. But here's the truth: even if they do try, things won't be the same. Because once something like this happens, especially in public, it changes everything. And as the footage continues to spread, as more people weigh in, as the story keeps growing, one thing is clear: this isn't just another celebrity argument. This is a moment that exposed everything. the tension, the cracks, the reality behind the image. And now there's no hiding from it. So what happens next? Will Jim take accountability? Will Chrissy walk away? Will this relationship survive or finally collapse under the weight of everything it's been carrying? Nobody knows for sure, but one thing's certain, this story isn't over, not even close.